In this video, I'll discuss and demonstrate usage of an Internet gateway on the Oracle Private Cloud Appliance. I'll begin by showing a compute instance that I've already created. I'm logged on to the Compute Web UI, and I'll click the Compute View Instances tile on the dashboard. The instance I've created for this demonstration is named Demo-01, so I'll click this link to view the details. I'll click the Networking tab and see that this instance's primary VNIC is on a virtual cloud network named Demo. My compute instance has a private IP address of 192.168.1.2 and a public IP address of 10.133.80.210. Now that we have this information, I'm going to attempt to SSH into this instance from my local laptop. I'll run the SSH command and provide the private key file name and attempt to connect as the OPC user to the public IP address. After a few seconds, my connection attempt times out and fails. I know that my SSH private key file is correctly paired with the public key assigned to my instance. I know that the OPC user exists on this instance, and I also know that the IP address is correct. So why can I not connect? Let's have a closer look at the VCN for this instance and see what is missing. From the Compute Web UI, I'll select Networking, then Virtual Cloud Networks, and view the details for my demo VCN. My demo VCN has a default route table, so I'll scroll down and view the resources. I immediately notice that I do not have an Internet gateway. An Internet gateway is required for me to be able to access my public instance on the Oracle Private Cloud Appliance. It's very easy to create an Internet gateway from the Web UI. You can also create the gateway from the OCI command line interface using the syntax OCI network internet-gateway create --compartment-id and then provide the compartment OCID --is-enabled and then set this to true, which implies you can disable the gateway by setting this to false, and then --vcn-id and provide the VCN ID. But from the Web UI, I'll click Internet Gateway under the Resources section. Next, I'll click Create Internet Gateway. I'll provide a name of Demo. For purposes of access control, you must specify the compartment. I'll just put the gateway in the same compartment as the VCN. You also have the option of entering tagging information, but I'm not going to do so for this demonstration. I'll click Create, and now I see that my demo Internet Gateway is available. Let's try to connect into my instance again. From a terminal window on my local laptop, I'll run the same SSH command I ran earlier. After a few seconds, my connection attempt still times out and fails. I'll go back to the Web UI and look at the VCN for this instance and see what else is missing. Under Resources, I see that I have a route table. I'll click on this link and see that my route table is available. I'll click on the Actions menu and select View Details. I'll scroll down and see that I have no route rules in my route table. So we need to add a route rule to use the Internet Gateway. You can create a route table for the VCN and add route rules from the OCI command line using the syntax OCI network route-table create --compartment-id and provide the compartment OCID --vcn-id and then provide the OCID of the VCN --route-rules route rules JSON. Route rules are in JSON format. The value of --route-rules option is either a string between single quotation marks or a file specified as file://path-to-file.json. For this demonstration, I'll click Add Route Rules from the Web UI. For target type, I'll select Internet Gateway from the drop-down list. I'll enter a CIDR block of 0.0.0.0/0 to represent any IP address, and I'll select my demo Internet Gateway. I'll click Create Route Table Rule, and after a few seconds, my new route rule is displayed. Let's try to connect to my instance again. I'll run the same SSH command I ran earlier. This time it works, and I'm connected to my public compute instance as the OPC user. So to summarize, an Internet Gateway is needed when hosts on both ends of the connection have a public IP address. You also must add a route rule in the route table for the VCN to use the Internet Gateway. Other things to note: a given VCN can only have one Internet Gateway. Security lists are covered in another video, but it's worth mentioning here. Security list rules ultimately determine the specific types of traffic that are allowed. In this video, I used SSH to connect between an on-premise host and a public compute instance on the Oracle Private Cloud Appliance. SSH uses TCP protocol and runs on port 22. If I view the security list, I see that this port is enabled by default in the default security list for my VCN. If I delete this ingress rule, I would not be able to SSH into compute instances on this VCN. The firewall settings on the instance also need to allow the SSH service. I'll run the sudo firewall-cmd-list-all command on my compute instance and see that this service is enabled by default as well. Refer to the Oracle Private Cloud Appliance documentation for more information. For additional training videos like this, go to oracle.com/go-to/PCA learning. This concludes this video. Thank you for watching.